Black people are 100% against using their money to improve the race. This is why the white power structure is not concerned about black people in their so-called liberation struggle. This is exactly why the white power structure is not concerned at all about American Negroes in their so-called liberation struggle. Because your liberation struggle is limited to YouTube videos and intellectual masturbation. If I'm wrong, prove it. Your struggle for liberation is limited to YouTubian opportunists and intellectual masturbators. You have almost no one in the black community doing anything independent to benefit the race. You have a lot of selfish capitalism disguised as a strategy for race uplift. You have a lot of selfish capitalism disguised as a strategy for racial uplift. But how many people do you know are building an institution that's going to benefit the masses directly? Direct, not indirect. In other words, help me become a billionaire and I'm going to give all of you jobs. That's indirect benefit because that requires you to keep your word. And when it comes to money, black people don't have a good track record of keeping their word to one another. Let's just say what it is. Let's just say what it is. We're discussing the psychopathology of poverty, whose main symptom is the psychopathological pursuit of money and materialism. See, black people's self-esteem has been so injured. Your sense of self has been so destroyed, disintegrated, decimated by slavery and white racism that you can't even focus on yourself long enough to do anything for yourself. I'm speaking as a group. We cannot detach from the pursuit of money and materialism long enough to solve our problems. Because our inner child that suffers from Willie Lynch, our inner child that was scarred by Negropean psychosis, is so thirsty for superficial vindication. I need you to understand this. Every human being has an inner child. That person you were from birth to roughly age 12. The black man and woman's inner child was scarred through poverty and lack. Most of us scarred through poverty and lack. So when you get of an age where you can earn an income, your mind is automatically dedicated totally and selfishly to surrounding yourself with symbols of success, but not actual success. This is why middle-class black America is 3 paychecks away from homelessness. This is why middle-class black America is 3 paychecks away from homelessness. The reason black people cannot delay gratification. The reason we cannot delay gratification is because we need the Mercedes to hide the racial self-esteem deficits. We need the house in the white suburb to hide the racial self-esteem deficits. We need the Rolex in every pair of Air Jordans ever made to hide our racial self-esteem deficits. We need the blonde wig in the white girl friend to hide our historical racial self-esteem deficits. See, the racial self-esteem deficits in the psychopathology of poverty and the self-hating Negro psychosis are a trinity. I'm going to say it again. The low racial self-esteem deficits that white power gave us, the psychopathology of poverty, and the Negro psychosis of self-hatred, they operate as a trinity. The father is the psychopathology of poverty. The son, okay, is the low self-esteem racial deficits, the low racial self-esteem deficits that we have. And the Negropean self-hating psychosis is the Holy Ghost. That's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost in Black America. That's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost of Black America. That's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost of Black America. The psychopathology of poverty racial low self-esteem deficits, and the self-hating Willie Lynch Negro psychosis. Those three things all work together. You see that. Whenever you see the gangster rapper, what do you see? Low racial self-esteem, the Negropean psychosis, and the psychopathology of poverty, which has created the selfish pursuit of money and materialism at all means. We have children in our community who kill each other for clothing. That's how low the racial self-esteem of I am nobody until I have Jordans. I am nobody until I have a blonde weave or blonde wig or blonde extensions. I am nobody until I have a Mercedes. I am nobody until I have a home in a white neighborhood. All of that is the outgrowth of the psychopathology of poverty. We are addicted to money and materialism, not so we can use it to help ourselves, but so we can use it to surround ourselves with symbols of equality, symbols of success, symbols of justice. This is why black people are the most luxurious people, although we are the most politically and economically devastated. We are in love with Gucci. We are in love with Louis. We are in love with Mercedes. But when you look at the political economic reality of black America, we are an impoverished people. How can a $2 trillion people be institutionally impoverished? How can a $2 trillion people be politically impoverished? How can a $2 trillion people be socially and educationally impoverished? Look what happens to our children on a daily basis. Look what happens to our children on a daily basis. Miseducation. You have no more than 36 truly independent schools that exist in a true school building. 50 million American Africans, 50 states. On average, that's 1 million blacks per state if you even it out. 1 million blacks per state if you even it out. And you only have 36 truly independent private schools for black children. Why are we so neglectful of our children when you have $2 trillion? It is because your mental illness, the psychopathology of poverty, has you selfishly pursuing empty materialistic symbols that suggests you are free and wealthy. You are equal to whites, you are free, and you are wealthy. That's what the Mercedes screams to the world. That's what the Rolex screams to the world. That's what the Louis bag screams to the world. That's what the Gucci rag and Gucci sandals scream to the world. And there's so many other rich white designer labels. I don't even know them all. I mean, the rappers know them. I don't know them. Prada, Gabbana, I don't even know if they popping anymore because I've never been into money and materialism. Never been into that. I remember being criticized by my school psychologist peers for not being into money and materialism. They told me, you're supposed to buy a new car. You're a school psychologist. You're on the same pay grade as a school principal in the school district of Philadelphia. Why are you still driving this 1995 two-door GMC Jimmy? I said, because I don't have a need to prove nothing to anybody. I use my money for books and to elevate my education. I use my money to take care of my responsibilities. Why do I need to buy a new car? Nothing's wrong with this one. I didn't get a new car until my 1995 GMC Jimmy died. And it died in 2010, the same year I coincidentally blew up and took over the Black Conscious Movement worldwide. One thing I thank my mother and father for, they never married us to materialism. I will eternally be thankful to both parents for never ever marrying us to money and materialism. I don't know if I would be who I am today had my mother or father married us to money and materialism. I am eternally thankful to them for not marrying us to money and materialism.